Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Man. That shit over there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Blast. How can we tell it was a blast? Always start your 15. Right? Swept it? Swept it. Violent? Okay. So at worst we're inside of a range. Right? And you can tell because we went sideways basically inside of this candle. We then traded lower here and then we put in a valid low. Can you guys hear me? We good? Right? So valid low after a blast. This made a valid high, right? Then we made a valid low. Goodbye. So you drop down to your lower time frame. Did we manipulate this 9 a.m. high? No. No, we did not. We didn't manipulate the low, which will be very interesting. I'm not betting against this just yet. Right? But this attempted to trade back into here and then went nope. And you can tell that at 9:28. So what happens is, if you so desired to trade the morning open, if you so desired, you'd be looking at very aggressive trades expecting this low to hold. Potentially this got taken, but not even close, right? And that ended up driving down about 3 points, and now we're up 60. Boom. Boom. Two days left, lads. 2 days left. This was actually a really violent movement back down, with the potential of being inside of that range and having that sort of wedge failure, right? So you kind of had this like overshoot and then trade back in, but was not to be. Yeah, maybe a range, right? We took the high, then we took the low, right? So our expectation, if we're going to continue with this, is that we run this high. Oh, really? On this? Yeah, I think this would have been valid. Right? Scary. Scary. That violent sweep and fail right off the 9:30 candle. Goodbye. Right, but that's a beautiful long if it wants to go. Morning. This kind of has. Oh yeah. Why do you think FOMO's this morning? Just out of anecdotal curiosity. We got Jolt at 10 a.m. by the way. This will be interesting to see if this does that or not. Usually ranges end up doing what? They expand, obviously. Right? But what ends up happening... Sorry, let me digress slightly. Because I'm not terrible. I think that people will be logging up here. You're starting to get consecutive, or not consecutive, but multiple bear bars, which is a bit of a change in personality, right? Than what happened here. Now we're starting to have this. This is how you begin your reversals. People start selling, then we run everybody out, and then we go. Right? One of the interesting realizations when you become consistently profitable is that you're really not that smart. Right? We get like, okay, we can call this, call that, or okay, like whereabouts should this trade back down to if it fails? Okay, maybe you got this. And then you get a little bit of a bounce here, and then this can either chop around, or there's a million and one different things that can go on, and we react to those accordingly. But like the market makers, there's your body closure. That low was 641, that closed at 640.75. Five-minute not looking beautiful. 15 looks like a rocket ship. So I'm not terribly interested in taking any sort of long. I think if it fails, it's going to fail very, very quickly. And if you are sure, you're going to get paid. But I think that I need something a little bit more on the intermediate time frames. Right, but I do think it drops a little bit. Where was I going with that? Yeah. So like we get like the market makers have all strategies essentially. They know about every single one of them. Or not market makers, but like the people that are designing how the markets move. Right? They're accounting for everyone. How do you do that? Well, you create emotion. Well, how do you do that? Right? You essentially think of it like a movie. Think of it like a movie. Right? If you watch a movie and only one thing happened, you're probably not going to be that interested. So what do? Well, you put in multiple changes that go on through the movie to keep your attention, to always keep you guessing. So the market will go through periods of, oh, we're consolidating today, so what do you expect tomorrow? Consolidation. Right? Cool. So we got that right on, say, on Tuesday. And then Wednesday comes and you're expecting consolidation. It goes on a rocket ship. And then what happens? Everybody sells off. And it continues on. Everybody sells off and it continues on. And they get cooked. Absolutely cooked. So people that are expecting similar stuff to happen that, say, happened yesterday, right? Consolidation, failure, barely broke out. We had like this lull up. And then this movement ended up leading to violence, which then led into sideways. And then violence. And then violence. And then sideways pretty much the whole day. Right? A little bit different. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I was afraid of missing out, entered too early and got stopped by 2 ticks. Okay? So, let's say hypothetically we entered on this closure. We're expecting a rocket ship, and away we go. By the way, I passed on this short, and we're down 20 points. I think it's valid, that pass. I think that it's a valid short as well. If you guys did take it, then good. Right? But let's say we entered in here. And then we got ran out by 15, 17 points, whatever it is. For starters, if you're looking at this, is it systematic or not? It could be. There's breakout trades that work very, very well, but usually you need some form of the market attempts to do X, in this case selling off, and Y happens instead. So where's the entry? If you're if you're going long here, what are you expecting? Are you expecting this high, or are you expecting expansion? You're probably expecting expansion because of the context, right? We're breaking out above this. If we're going to go long, we want some sort of expansionary move to the upside, right? So you wait for the market to attempt to sell off, and your long is here instead. So that's strategy, right? It's not based, you'll notice I didn't mention anything on outcome. This long very well could have, this wick could have traded down, stopped here inside the middle of this imbalance, and then gone on a rocket ship. We could have had just this candle open and blast, and you've got no drawdown. There's a lot of different things outcome related to this long that could have worked out. A lot of them. Right? So when we look at emotional stuff, it's not I've got rules or whatever that avoid me from taking longs here. When you get that FOMO bug and you see this blast, what is this, 30 points? Right? When you see that, some of you will have something go right inside your subconscious immediately. And if you do, that's essentially calling aloud to you that it wants it to be fixed. So you don't take those losses. Because what happens is you're right about 30% of the time with this trade. Just enough to continue doing it in the future. But just enough losses that it's actually impeding your progress. Right? Many likely shorted here. For whatever reason. We got our first 15-minute candle. There's your 5. That's looking beautiful. Strong push down in fairness. Right? Your 15's here. Closed at 621, which is a closure above the prior area of interest. So we do have a confirmed zone. Right? Whether you consider, yeah, I'd consider it from there. Right? Let's get your midpoint of this zone, which is, oops. And that's if we continue up. Like, we don't have to necessarily do this. That's possible. Depends on what goes on with jolts, right? So this is, what, 92? You'd probably look at this low at, sorry, that low is 92, and then the midpoint is like 93, right? And if you've got this, well, if you're drawing from the energy of the move, well, we're well below that now at 613. And trading views doing candles. Sure. Right. Passed on the short. Obviously working out quite nicely. Right, so 597, there's 592 there. We very well could take some liquidity and then blast. We've still got this 9 a.m. hourly low. If you guys are swing trading this, this is a very, very good spot. Probably wise to take something off here. We're nearing 950. It very well could drop into this, have a little bit of a rally maybe, and then continue on, or it could just die, who knows. Okay. Am I upset about not pulling the trigger here? No. Does it look foolish in hindsight? Yes. But for me, as much as I expected it to come back down, I had a 5-minute that wasn't giving me any signs of reversal, and a 15 that at the time certainly wasn't that. Right? And that was at 941. The 15 ended up with a huge wick as this traded back down to here. Okay, so we've taken the 9 a.m. hourly low. Really good spot for people to take some off. You've also got London lows, in fairness, but London engulfed, or not engulfed, London took Asia. So while it's possible we take both of these, no. I mean, trade what we see. Trade what we see. $9.50. Blasting underneath this so far. Blasting. And now we look at this. Well, let's have a look. Fairly clear where the movement started from. So we've got this, right? This is expansionary. So in reality, there's your midpoint of the inner. Well, actually, so that's not true at all, is it? There we go. There's the midpoint of the energy of the move. There's the actual starting. Right? So we've actually got this 545 low based off of our hourly time frame. We'll see what ends up happening here now. I like the 15-minute, but obviously no reaction, no trade. Here we are. All right, so London lows and the midpoint of that expansion. Probably a pretty good spot to target. We'll see whereabouts this, if it bounces up at all. Right, you might very well get something in here which just blasted through. I think this fractal will give a little bit of a reaction. We'll see. Early shorts. Early shorts probably going to get squeezed a little bit. Those that are selling here, those that are selling here. Right? That didn't take profits after 20 points at the end of a move that's climactic. Do you do an after action review at the end of your day? Yeah, so essentially what I do is I grade myself not only through the morning, but I grade myself at the end of the day based on a few different factors. And some of them are like the major ones are my execution, my direction, and my psychology. And then essentially there's little subsets that go into there, but essentially I want to know how well I performed by those three metrics. Right? Am I chasing price? And this, by the way, is regardless of if I made money or not. Right? I could go long here and make money. Does that mean it's a very good trade? I think that it goes up. Does that mean it's a long? Probably not. Right? Why'd they leave this low? Little nuances. Right? Here's your 5. Here's your 15. Morning, Lane. Right? Now in those three, like when you're looking for execution, similar to like, okay, well, if you're playing a basketball game, how was my shooting? Well, I mean, what does that mean? It's a little bit harder to grade yourself on something like that. Whereas for us, if we're, say, looking at execution, let's take this short, for example. Let's say we executed, I don't know, here. Right? If your strategy is the flip, your execution was up in here. And anything pretty much underneath here, I would grade myself as poor. Right? That's not the same as saying I've got some confirmation of a push here and my trade is this, perhaps, and we'll see if it works out. But this is my strategy. That's fine as well, right? But see how we're getting a little bit more strategy specific. The psychology is essentially your ability to follow your system. If you get FOMO here and you make money, versus if you've got very specific reasons for getting in here, say this market attempts to sell off and now you're long here at 635. We don't know what's going to do this. But say that 635 long and you're expecting 20 points, 30 points, whatever. Who knows? Jolts in 4 minutes. Your direction is your bias. Is it going up or down from an intermediate time frame perspective? And by the way, this is where consistency comes from. This is rough. I think that this area, if it respects, is going to drop underneath this low. I don't really want to be getting involved here. I think that the draw is 45 and lower. But, man. 3 minutes to do's. Another bear bar. Oh. I think it goes down, but I don't know if I can do it, Jim. Oh. 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 Yep. That's nasty business. Objective potentially completed now. That's hard to short off of that blast. But I think trading back into that breaker. Oh. Yeah, I think a little bit higher too. But oh, that's so dirty. And that's with the new internet too. Doesn't even matter, does it? Two minutes. 2 minutes. Almost the end of July. I can't believe we're in August, man. Where the hell did the year go? I want to hit it, but like the 15 is going to close back inside too. There's your 5. That's gross. Here's your 15. That's gross. You got, yeah. Whew. The danger is that it's FOMC, which throws my psychology off historically, because I start playing chess instead of keeping things simple. Well, if it's FOMC, they're going to generate liquidity and they're going to run everybody out, and it's just going to range all day, and then they're going to run both sides tomorrow, instead of being like, this is what's going on, lads. What do we think, chat? Up or down for jolts? I'm ready for summer to start fading away. Yeah, yeah, man. I'm done. I've had my 35-degree weather, or whatever that is for Fahrenheit. Wouldn't be surprised if we traded back up into this. Wouldn't be surprised. This was nasty. I think that we go lower indefinitely, but yeah, I think up then down. So the good news is that personality-wise, and morning Tigo, by the way, appreciate that, man. The good news is that if we've got this algorithm today, then we simply wait for this to happen again. Happy days. Who's ready to win some accounts on Thursday? I'm so hyped for this. We got Canwall coming on. We've got 20 accounts, a bunch of free months, some psychology stuff. Friday is the NLP day. Thursday is the massive giveaway. We're giving away everything on Thursday. Everything. Oh, is that it? No, come on, lads. If it flips, I think we gotta go. If it flips, we gotta go. If it flips, then we've got something in here which then runs these. Tomorrow we kick things off. Tomorrow we kick things off and I'm going to go through a bunch of strategy. Strategy with psychology tied in with a lot of shit. Right? Essentially a workshop tomorrow, which I'll be giving over lunch. So the majority, actually not the majority, all the events are going to happen during lunch hour in the market. So we'll make our bag in the morning. We'll make our bag. And then, oh, that hit right off the open there. That's exactly where they started buying. Oh! Tomorrow is strategy with me. Strategy and psychology with me. Thursday, we run it up in the morning. Canwall comes on at lunch, and then after we do an interview with him. Ask him a bunch of questions, have some fun. Then we're going to do a whole bunch of marble races. And these aren't going to be your typical marble races, by the way. These aren't going to be your typical ones. There's going to be the anniversary edition, which is twists and turns and everything else. Oh! Okay, do we get something back up to 70s? Yeah. If we get back up to 70s, fine. Can't really hit that close, although I do think it blasts. We'll see. More on TW. Can you win multiple times? I think you can win multiple prizes. I don't think we'll let somebody walk away with like 5 accounts or something. But if people win a strategy session or people win like an NLP psychology session, which in my opinion is kind of the grand prize, if we're honest, that and some of the account, then yeah, we'll say that you could win something else. All right, so looking at this fractal, ideally the open of this candle. That's poor execution by me, I think, but confident direction. We've tapped in. We've got a violent movement away. I'd like to have been in the mid-60s. I don't know why I'm in at 63, but we'll see where this goes. That's not good. Yuck. Didn't really want that closing bullish, but here we are. It's gonna drop, it's gonna drop now. Again, mid-60s was the trade. Not multiple accounts, but multiple prizes, yes. Good. Created an SNDR. Let's follow through. Having some troubles. Or not having troubles at all, actually. I don't know. That I should still be in this. Just didn't really like the order flow there, so I took it off. There's no issues with this trade other than my entry being in the low 60s. If it was in properly in the high 60s, then that would have been still nearly 20 points. Not quite exactly, but I need to win one this time. Bro, we've been doing them since June. I haven't won one once. This is going to be very dirty if they don't take these. I think I'm going to pause in here. You've been doing them since June too? Are you an OG and I don't recognize your YouTube name, since we did stuff on YouTube? Look at this. Look at this. You're from the deplorables time. What's your Discord name? What? The deplorables time? You're like OG. Good lad. Ah, Russ. All right. What's up, Russ? How you doing, man? Isn't it funny? Like, who the hell is Tigo? Oh, it's Russ. Okay, I know Russ. What's up, Russ? YouTube. This entire, look at it, like, do I want to short here? No. Do I miss all of this? Yes. Do I take this? No. But, okay, 10 a.m. Right? Wait for this entire movement, and then I hit it here. Like, but that's all that spoke out to me. Hey, Wafa, what's going on? Wafa settled, for those of you guys that, hopefully everybody, but Wafa settled a little mini debate yesterday. This is a potential long to at least trade into this midpoint. The wife is Irish, so she obviously loves Jamie Dornan. She's convinced I look like him, which is outrageous. And then when somebody said I look like Thor, which is equally outrageous, yesterday it sparked a little debate, which Wafa helped settle for us. So thank you, Wafa. Not a lot that I like out of this. I think that this was valid. I think that was valid. I think that this was, other than because it was right before jolts. Like I was expecting sort of this, and then maybe a dump, maybe. That was obviously nice. I passed on it because of the intermediate time frames. Here we are, right? So if you did take this CSD long. If you did take the CSD long, and that video is going to be on School at the beginning of August, by the way. The only thing you need is some engagement on School, and you get that. We're now trading back into here. This is unmitigated, by the way. And you can tell it's unmitigated because when we moved away, we didn't trade back up into it. So you do expect a reaction out of that. You do expect a reaction out of that. Which we're getting. Morning, Big Frank. What's going on, buddy? Level? Oh, you mean level in School? I like level 3. Les is holding to her guns at level 4. I think there's a bunch of people that have already unlocked level 4. Let me actually look at this. School. Where's School? See, this is nasty. Like spike, blast. Market says nope. Really not even logged in. Yeah, so I'm level 4. A lot of people are level 3. Somebody that joined he joined, where is he? 12 days ago, was already at level 3. He's probably going to be level 4 pretty soon. Right? Sam, who just joined recently, or no, he didn't. Never mind. That was good. That's going to be gross if this was a blast. Right? But let's not get caught up too much in the 1 minute time frame. What's our 5 doing? Yeah. What's our 15 doing? So far, it's failed to CSD. So far. Do we get a 1 minute flip? Yes. Did the 1 minute flip happen underneath the 15 minute low? Yes. Right? Dangerous stuff. We'll see what happens if we trade back down. We've now flipped back bearish. Okay. I think that's going to facilitate a movement back down to here, which is already done. We still have these levels lower, in fairness, but think that this is actually, yeah, I think I'm going to, that's a trade back in for potentially lower, in fairness. Right, we actually could be testing the 69s here. So I'm going to pause on this. I think that this moving back down, I would have liked it a little bit lower, so I'm going to cancel that order. It very well could just stop here at 74 and go. I think that I want it to cook these highs. I think that cooking those highs is good, and then, right, so we would look for something like this, and then that, and then ideally we get something else. Right, so again, looking at this open, 68, which we're in right now. Oops. Did I just miss that? It did. You're right. That's true. What the hell are we talking about? This is aggressive. Looking at stabbing into this order block. Ideally, we get strong movement out. If we get a push above this CSD level, then I'll go break even pretty quick because this is aggressive. But essentially I want this to fly 10-15. We very well could get a 10-30 move. We're going to find out very, very quickly. Taking liquidity now. This might just stop me. Yeah. Okay. So aggressive idea with the flip and then the flip back. We did fail in the 15 like Pix was saying. I'm not really convinced. We've got these targets lower, yes. But we'll see what goes on. What that was. Good. So yeah, bearish CSD, but I thought that was flipping back down to this area of interest. We swept underneath that 15-minute low. We're going to trade higher. Still kind of looking at this. We very well could get sort of a third push down, maybe. 15 is certainly supporting that theory with that closure, but I still like higher to really go lower. Just got an expansionary movement down, so we'll wait. Trade over my long for 20, time for a break. Okay, beautiful. Now this is probably right in the middle of this, which I like. Got 10 seconds left in this candle. We'll see what goes on. That's good though, man. Beautiful. Trading back into here, waiting to see what the reaction is. Yes, we are slightly bearish with this delivery, in fairness. Right, our 15-minute did flip bearish, but I think we need to have a bit more of a movement up, and I think that the smiley also coincides with that. I don't really like the idea that this, I'm waiting to see what this kind of reaction is. If this is a stall candle, then fine, but we've just taken that low, so we'll probably continue. I like that people are playing, I like the idea that people are playing the ranges. I think that London lows and the midpoint of the idea, or the larger swing, is a good spot. And then we've got this manipulation here as well. We'll be getting involved down here if it wants to drop. Got a little bit of a rally, which is then immediately sold off with an engulfing candle, so I can't go long in here. I really like the buying that's coming in here, but like if we look at this, right, it's kind of overshot the area of interest as well. If this would have held, then fair enough, drive us higher. Instead we've got this, and I don't really want to try and catch 10 or 20 points here with the strong possibility that we run the morning low at 52. Sweeping, failing, sweeping, failing. I think if we do flip back, we're looking above the 90s. But range-bound type environment, people will be taking profits in here, which was the initial reason for the long to begin with. Just didn't go down far enough, obviously. Ooh. Things speeding up now. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on. 10:24. We got 6 minutes left. So you got a new 15-minute candle coming in 6 minutes. You got a new 5. The 5s are obviously just disgusting lower. Here's your 15 right now. Right, multiple wicks. Your hourly is looking gross, but it's already stabbed down into here. We might get that hourly low, which is the target. So we'll see. Oh. But if you're short here, what are you risking off of? You're risking off of this candle? The one that generated nothing? That doesn't mean it can't bounce into this open and fail and just continue onwards, right? That's the flip area, really. I wouldn't take a trade unless it closed above 72s, but this open was a very, very strong area of interest. There's our new 5. So if we're looking at the 5-minute chart, right? Cool, steady bearish candles. Definitely pointing lower. Probably going to be violent when it happens. Yeah, I think that if it runs these and we get a movement back up, then I'm probably not looking short. You might get some sort of a retracement, but essentially we want to see what goes on in here. And then if we like displace lower and we kind of consolidate in here, maybe the flip will take us back up into that. Right? This hourly low, I think, is a very important spot. So I probably should have positioned myself for that, especially in here, rather than stalking along. I just thought that this flip and then running those out was going to happen before this. And that was obviously incorrect. Fine. You've got a little bit of a trend line liquidity here as well that I think people are looking at. This is now a bit of a wedge. Ideally, we get some buying that steps in, we then run everything out, and then we get a very, very nice, right? So like a bullish candle, and then we run everybody, and then you get your flip, and that facilitates a movement above this. That would be perfect. Wow, there we go. Beautiful stuff. I think I'm going to take an aggressive long in here. Now, nothing to the left suggesting that this is like going to be like the low. I think that we should trade up to the mid 50s at minimum. But obviously extremely aggressive of a trade, expecting this to be the finalization of the narrative. We'll find out pretty quick. I don't like how it's chopping around in here in the mid 40s. Right? Essentially, I want this to just be done. Right, there's probably no reason of if this like rockets up, there's probably no reason of being out of this too soon either, right? But again, something like this, and then you know we've got a valid low, finalization of the narrative, got our long wick, so this is a stop run, right? But aggressive trade, trade your probability, right? And then if it confirms, now you got some sort of a stall or whatever. The trade-off obviously being that I'm already out for 10 points. But there's a very strong possibility. Like this is unmitigated, so we're expecting a reaction from here similar to what happened up in here. Now, whether this trades down below, which it did, or this trades back down and then goes on a rocket ship, we don't necessarily know when it's reacting. We do expect a reaction from here. For the same reason, we're actually expecting this too. Right? So we don't know if this is going to facilitate another movement down. We're looking to the left. We've got an SNDR accumulation. That's good. We actually had that same thing here, which then ran the low, but we didn't complete our objective yet. If this hourly low was the objective, and we flip, and then we trade back in, this now is your higher time frame movement, and you're expecting violence. That's where you're expecting violence, right? And we can look at this and go, well, why are you out of this, you moron? And that's fair, right? That's fair. I personally don't care if this goes up 100 points. Yeah, I'd love to be able to do that, similar to the short that I passed on earlier. This is the danger of all-time highs. I don't have a higher time frame area where I can say, okay, the hourly now wants to sell off now. I don't have that because we're at all-time highs. We've now flipped bullish, right? Or did we? 66, 66, we have not. Well, I mean, based off of ICT we have, based off of mine, I usually like to have a body closure above that. Take it easy, Jack. Hopefully you made some money today, my bro. Right? So now, that's your area of interest. Assuming we get a reaction from it. We very well could just sweep and fail underneath that, which, who could have predicted this? There's going to be some stuff going on. Right? You got the hourly that's now starting to determine if we're going to blast or not. Right? And then you got that. Okay, so you got your area of interest maybe down in the low 50s. You've got this. But this to me, like, we've now got a valid low. Now we determine what goes on. So this is sort of where we're looking. What kind of reaction do we get from this? Right? Is the fact that we have a valid high in here good or not? Right? Because now we've got this, which means internal structure, which means now we've got this area of interest, assuming we break and close above. So you might not like the aggressive trade in here in the 50s. You might not like that. That's up to your risk tolerance. But if this area breaks above, the fact we have a valid low means that we've got internal movement going on. This is your zone that we just broke above, or sorry, broke below. We're inside of our S&DR. We haven't taken the liquidity. You've got a fair amount of liquidity all the way up. Why is that important? It's important because if this movement goes above here, it's unlikely that we get a movement back down into here to then run. That's an if. That's an if. Right? So you got this open at 52. One tick away. We'll see. Right? And this is why I usually wait for those closures. That doesn't mean this trade isn't a decent quality trade. But for me, it's not A+++. I love that we've taken objectives. I love that we're getting a reaction from the area we need to. Assuming we continue to hold this midpoint, then we're getting very, very interested. Inside, but to find out just how much juice is on this move. Not involved. Yeah, I think if we get a strong close, I think that we could probably risk off of it. Right, I don't really like this. I think that we definitely get a movement above this 68, in which case definitely want to be long, and then we'll cook at least this 72 high. At least. There, if it trades back down to here. Expecting this to support price, and people are starting to get really nervous about the hourly. We've got a lot of liquidity, which means that we're primed for an explosive movement should it desire to do so. Not the move I wanted so far. But it's more that the velocity of it trading back down isn't really what I'm interested in. We're now trading at the midpoint, okay. So hopefully it's just trading back down to grab some more liquidity. We want it sweeping and failing this low and then rocketing up. If the hourly is going to push, we'll know straight away. If it's not, well, we're going to find out very, very quickly too. Some people will mitigate based off of the velocity of that double top. I think that's fair. I like how it's holding the midpoint of this, so I'm still holding this. $10.38 as well, reversal time. Time to find out. If she's going to go, she should go. Otherwise, we'll have to wait for a new 15. We might even cook this low here at 52. Right? I like that it's swept underneath here. We're getting some movement away. But we've got to have some sort of sustained movement here as well. Go on, lads. Come on, lads. 2 seconds, 1 second. I like that we closed above that a lot. Right? We're just not getting anything that I want so far. Would rather be positioned underneath 60 for the move. We'll see if she's ready yet or not. That's really good. Lift now. Lift, 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 lift. Wedge failure, we probably trade back down if there's a wedge failure, but I think that wedge failure would have to happen above 69. Right, so finger on the trigger just in case, and looking for expansion. There's the 72s. Okay. Boom. Again, base hits. Why am I taking base hits? Not because I don't have conviction that we're going to trade above this and then these. But the way that I get back, those of you guys that were on the stream last week, I know our group was, the grade that I gave my execution was a resounding F last week. A resounding F. So what do I do this week? I get right back to basics. And this is what I feel all of you should look to as well when you go through the inevitable struggle. Not because this isn't a strong possibility of leading up here. And if you're long, you should still be trailing. Right? Because this is right. Even inside of this low volatile environment, VIX is underneath 15. FOMC is tomorrow. There's a lot to be desired for taking 10 points, 20 points, whatever. Right? Did anybody grab this? Or are we just chatting? Beautiful. Beautiful. Right? So we don't know. Right. So let's take this consolidation. 60 to 73. Beautiful. Beautiful. 10 points here, 10 points there, 15 points here, 20 points there. High probability. Right? All of a sudden you're up 600, 800. Right? Gross. Gross. But that's why you take runners as well. Pay yourself. This to me, I mean, I think we should at least take this 15-minute high. I'm shocked that we aren't. At least not yet. Accidental? Was it? What do you think, chat? Was it accidental that he took 2 cons? What do you guys think? Judges? 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 We don't know if this is going to drop. Yeah, love those accidents when they work out in your favor, don't you? Right? So, we understand that was respecting the midpoint, we're going higher. Okay, or at least we had an edge. We had an edge. Right? So we're looking at this. Essentially, we're looking at that, let's say. We don't know if this selling is going to drop and we just continue on, or if we're going to build an SNDR and then run it. We don't. We're getting now into, have we broken structure? Nope, we've not. Your protected high is here. So as expected from this zone, we've actually done this a couple of times now, potentially running everybody out. We flip back bearish, so this is going to be very important. Right, so we flip bullish, we then flip back bearish. Right, your CSD is here, so that's dangerous. But we do know that there's going to be something that goes on here. And then based off of the reaction, this is where screen time comes in. Based off of that reaction, now we can take a long or a short, right? So nobody hits this candle here, or at least you should not hit that candle there. Is it nasty that we took that liquidity? Were we expecting this low to go anyway? Yeah. It just was telling us that it wanted to go up first. So we hit it long. In my opinion, we've now taken London lows and we've flipped. We need this flip to facilitate an intermediate time frame flip. Right? Here's your 15. Shocked that we haven't taken any of these 15-minute highs, which in my opinion means that we are engineering it. Right? So if you guys are aggressive and you're waiting for this, now we've officially flipped. This should run. Or else the hourly is not ready to run from this low yet. What I don't like is that we didn't have any sort of CSD here. So what we're looking at is this is a very valid imbalance. We're judging the reaction from it. Any trades today? Yeah, we're sitting green. We're sitting green. I want to review that just because of how violent it was. Unfortunately, I didn't grab that short. Didn't grab that short. But here we are. Two days. 2 days. Woo, 2 days. Two. In fact, less than 48 hours. Woo. Let's go. Let's go is right. If we fail here, I think we run everything. If we fail here, I think we run everything. Big if. So if we're reverse engineering this and why I actually avoided long here, it's not because I didn't think there'd be a reaction. I don't like when we have multiple bearish candles. Right? For me to take a long, I mean, this one would have been beautiful. I actually avoided that. Or I missed that, rather. That was a beautiful long idea. Right? Those of you guys that are trading aggressively, this should have been something that that you hit, or at least for whatever reason. Who knows? But you have your buying, it got swept out, we then flip, trades back in, gone. Right? Selling, trades back in, right? So CSD, trades back in, leaves. At least took this low, which is a valid short idea. Whether you take it or not is irrelevant, because you don't necessarily have to think this can happen. This might happen. But that doesn't have to be your only idea. But you're looking at this, we've got nothing to the left. You got a little fractal short. Now this very well could have been facilitating moving back down, fine, right? Usually I like to see some sort of like buying that takes place here, and then we run everybody out, and then the long can happen, right? But the fact that there wasn't, this movement looked to be a retracement for me. Here we are. We overshot the trend line. Those of you guys that love your trend lines, you still got this basically overshot. This could be the retest. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm counting down the days, counting down the hours. What do you guys want for? What do you guys want for the big strategy session tomorrow? I plan on putting some psychology in, trading related psychology. But essentially we're going to do a bit of a market overview. We're going to go over, essentially I want to be able to do sort of like a market structure overview. We'll go from point A to point B, and then essentially we look at like it's called like an RPM formula. And what that is if you're holding for Asia lows, nice. Hopefully this gives you your violent movement, and that this ends up being hourly inducement and we just drop and then finalize and go. Right? So the RPM formula is essentially it's results, process, and mindset. And what it is you've got whereabouts you are, whereabouts you want to go, and then you identify on the way you're going to have different blocks. Right? So block 1, block 2, block 3. And when you start out trading, what's the first thing that you need? Actually, this is a question for all you guys. Type it in the chat if you're not involved in something. What do you need? What's your job when you want to become a trader? First and foremost. Is it strategy? You got to find a strategy. There's your Asia low, Tigo, nice. That's while you're in the market. That's while you're trading. Right? But when you start trading, you got to find a strategy first, right? And then managing that strategy comes afterwards. But what comes before finding a strategy? A lot of people just hop in the market and they have an idea, okay, well, take these nice trade, TW. Beautiful, man. Beautiful narrative and thought process. For holding all that. Awesome. Before you decide to become a trader, your job is essentially like narrative, in my opinion, is objectives. Like whereabouts you feel the objective is. So if you shorted wherever you were short, maybe you're even short up here on the flip, beautiful. Or you scaled in here, who knows. But your narrative was that I'm holding a runner for this. That's the objective. So beautiful. Right? So like if we're talking about up here, and then like this is like strat. Okay, I'm going to take EMA crossovers or whatever. I'm going to trade the luminary strategies. or ICT or SMT or whatever, and then essentially you've got, okay, you got strategy, and then inside that you've got different things, and then you've got psychology, and then whatever, away we go on, right? So capital only has to do with this. But before you even get your first strategy in the market, your job up here, before we even look at a chart, and I'm talking like initially, your job is definiteness of purpose. Are you going to be a successful trader no matter what the strategy and the psychology come in if you expect to fail? No. No, you're not. Right? We'll go into this a lot more tomorrow. Your job up here is definiteness of purpose. You want to know exactly what you want and why you're doing it. The second thing, before we even get into this, because any strategy, you can hop strategies for years. People do. You can trade with a little bit of consistency and never really get anywhere. This will manifest itself if we don't do the first two steps before we even get involved in the futures market. And I'm talking like when you first start. I'm not talking about when you sit down at the desk tomorrow morning. I'm talking about like way back when. Right? So definiteness of purpose, and then delusional, unwavering faith that you're going to get there, which has to do with expectations. So you're seeing yourself there. Right? If you want to be an ice hockey player and you've got 1 foot, you're probably not going to do very well. Sorry to say to the 1-footed people out there. And that's a very obvious case. Right? You can't really skate with 1 foot on the ice. There's a lot less obvious ones that have the exact same effect with your belief systems and story in the market. And they will manifest themselves depending on what they are. Nobody wakes up in the morning expecting to be red. I get that. Nobody attempts at being a trader and expects to not become one. I get that. But if you have specific beliefs about yourself and or money or the market or whatever, those aren't always in the forefront of your mind. And they will manifest themselves. Some are a lot more destructive than others, where they impede you in getting profits, payouts, consistency. Others manifest themselves once you are consistent and you're getting payouts. And now all of a sudden you don't feel you deserve it or whatever else goes on. Right? But this will manifest. This is the perfect mirror. This is your biggest dreams and your greatest fears that will eventually come in at some point. So ideally what goes on is we look at whereabouts you are, and the RPM is essentially you've got specific walls, and now you got to figure out a strategy for breaking through those specific walls. For example, very, very easy one. Your first wall is determining if you're actually able to trade something or not. Right? So if you look at strategy and you look at the 15-minute time frame, we bullish or bearish, you better have a way of determining if we're bullish or bearish. Right? So as Pix mentioned earlier, this closed underneath here, right? And that long got clapped. There was multiple longs, and I did think that this was going to trade up to here and then go lower, or at least attempt to go lower. if this would have done that there, then I would have hit that short. I wouldn't have taken this up to here and then looked for the lows to be broken. Right? If you can't imagine a ton of money or a ton of success, and your mind is not saturated with a ton of money or a ton of success, you will not be able to see that in your bank balance. Oh, Matt, did you scoop that? You should expect to fail. Welcome in as quick as possible. Yeah, we should expect pullbacks for sure. And definiteness of purpose. We can't let it change. Exactly. Right? If it affects your state and we get into a negative state, like Liz and I don't believe in positive thinking, really. Right? Because people essentially are in negative states and they're suggesting that they're happy or they're whatever. Right? Oh, it's okay. I lost $22,000 today, let's say. And I've lost a hell of a lot more than that in a day, by the way. Right? Today we're green. Cool. But let's say we lost $22,000 and that was like everything we had. We're just going to sit here and go, you know what? It's okay. Bull said to be positive. Let's go. Okay, positive. Positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. And then you're like that meme of that dog sitting in the fire all around them. Right? We do believe in energy. We do believe in energy. I don't like how this is kind of doing that. I think that if this fails here, we'll get an equally strong movement up. 11:02, so you got your hourly beautiful. You got your 15-minute low here as well. My concern would be that we sweep that out and then the movement happens. And this is just inducement because we had nothing really to the left. Don't want to shake anybody out of their longs. This very well could just fail here and blast. I'm obviously not involved. Right? I actually don't really know what Trade Beautiful has planned for you guys. What Les has planned for you guys on Friday, but she's gonna rock your world, I'm sure. Now what? Got a few bots that joined the Discord recently, didn't we? A little bit of a whipsaw. I'm green, so I'm done. I have to go into work tomorrow. Beautiful. Not that you have to go into work tomorrow. But green is green. Do we get this low? Do we get this low? There she goes. Now what? Now what? Trailing my last runner on this short. Hey! $11.05. Again, this sort of movement, right? At least here we had some accumulation we could risk off of. These sort of drops, we kind of expect these lows to happen, right? That same sort of thing, no accumulation here. Loved the long idea. Didn't really get our push. I kind of wanted some buying to step in and then happen. Right? But, you guys want some hypnosis on Friday? Tapping's huge, guys. Tapping is massive. I'm loving energy psychology. This is. Oh. This very well could be that inducement and then running everybody out. I think a stall candle here or something might be a beautiful trade idea. Right, with your hourly low, we've taken Asia. We got a nice movement off of London. Who wants to be hypnotized on Friday? Got a little consolidation going on here. Yeah, kind of bounced right off of that. Didn't grab that short. I'm kind of like annoyed that I didn't take either that one or this one that I didn't. This one I'm struggling with because the 15 and the 5 were so bullish at this time. We don't really have many attempts to reverse the trend. I love this flip, but just didn't ride that down at all. There's probably no excuse to not hit it here, I suppose, but and then this just continued on. So those of you guys that actually rode the short down for the Asia lows, great. I thought we were going to get a little bit more off of this reversal pattern at London. So there's something there. Right? So essentially what we're looking for now is, do we reverse before noon? Right? And we kind of manipulate underneath here, and then we get a violent movement, and then lunch hour might do something like this. And then essentially our noon curve, we're expecting some sort of failure to then run lower, assuming we close underneath the midpoint of this. Right? Which would be about 580. In which case that would run this low. I don't think that's really the case, given that we've taken Asia and London now. Yeah, I like this area a lot. Like this area a lot. We're kind of in this zone. We got a little bit lower to go in fairness, but kind of inside of this imbalance that sent us up in the first place. There we go. Right, now we would expect a reaction from this here, which is probably mid to high 30s. Right, your valid low candle is this. So ideally we get a closure above that. Good. Signaling this, and then we'll see what ends up happening in here. Ideally we don't get a massive movement back down. And then we can look for a reversal long to come out of this. That might have been it already. People are eager to get out of this. Oh, I think I missed that. Yep, I definitely did. Shit. Okay. I think you're probably looking for this. I'd like this consolidation that then lifted. I should have been involved down here in the 13s. Right, when we were kind of chopping around, low risk idea. We took this low, which I was expecting. So I avoided anything in here. Right, so good on that front. You're now getting your reaction from this, as we talked about. Right, so reaction here, inside of this, probably sends you back down to here, and then that ideally continues onwards. This is a structural zone, so you would expect a movement out of the midpoint as well. A lot to like about the potential there, but again, I'm not looking to, definitely not looking to short these areas, just expecting reactions from them. Let's see if we get, oh, that's violent. That's violent. Hit that there though. Want this to be finished business and blast. Don't really want it respecting the low 20s here. I want it to just cook. I'm looking at the open of that bullish candle that just had a bearish sweep. I'm actually going to take this off here. I think that it still does go higher, but I'm looking at kind of the reaction here at 24.5. Bearish engulfing candle, not exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted that trade back down into this. If this respects, then it probably still sends you higher. Just not really wild about the delivery, so we'll pass. We'll see. But yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the morning stream here, lads. We'll do a little bit of a review. I'm happy I exited that out. Obviously a little bit risky with that violent movement from here. I don't particularly like a lot more downside. This is a little bit surprising that we're not getting any huge rallies, so I guess we'll see what goes on. But bearish until proven otherwise, right? Our 15 is definitely pointing down. Our hourlies are pointing down. You guys make sure you stay safe. Hopefully you guys are all green with us this morning. And yeah, tomorrow kicks everything off. Woo. Bye, 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 bye.